Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's AMA. Things are progressing quite well with the organization over the past 7 days. I have some interesting things to share with you. I think that Herman is quite busy at the moment with some partner discussions. I'm not sure if he was able to get out of his previous call on time. So, what I'm going to ask him to do is to give us a brief update in the text chat later on today, where he'll summarize some of the things that are going on from a dev perspective. But I have enough oversight and visibility of some of the strategic activities of the company so I can fill you guys in now. Just to remind you that we're now doing these shorter AMAs because most of the core software updates and problems have been overcome. The technical challenge of EVM on Cherry was quite substantial, but that's been resolved, as you guys know. So there's less real need for us to discuss in depth what's going on. So what we're going to do is from now on, these AMA sessions, as I explained last week, will be more short and to the point. We'll do a recap of them immediately. And then later on, throughout the week, we'll supplement them with more detailed blog posts. Because, and this is what I wanted to talk about today briefly, the strategic situation of the project has progressed. We have evolved with this recent success of EVM, etc. What does that mean? That means that instead of a broad and complex problem being confronted by the project from a technical perspective, we're now over the difficulty with that, with mainnet released, with EVM released, etc. So it's more about the company expanding, and it's more about just executing on the things that are planned. So the strategic aspect is not quite as interesting anymore. It's more just an operational execution question. That being said, the release of the Cherry storage feature, the full release of that will be more of an unknown quantity in the next few months. So we'll probably do longer form AMAs closer to that time, but that's not coming for the next few weeks anyway. So for the foreseeable future, these shortened AMAs will give you guys a pulse check on everything that's happening in all the functions of the project. We won't always have ecosystem projects speaking to us during the AMA on Wednesdays, but some days we will. For example, Diego will join us today. I'm going to proceed now to jump into the discussion of what's going on, and then I'll leave you with Diego, and then finally we'll go to the quiz. And the winners of today's quiz will be announced in the chat within an hour or two, I would assume. Okay, so first and foremost, as I mentioned before, we've reached a stage of strategic maturity, so to speak, to a certain degree within the project. That involves a shifting of gears towards different things. Whereas before now, keeping everything moving while also making sure that the developers were confronting these quite complex topics, that was the emphasis. Now the emphasis is more on expansion, more on business development, strategic development, as in strategic software development, and making the Cherry chain and the Cherry ecosystem as easy as possible for people to use, and actually getting as many people into it as possible. So, for example, this week Herman is very busy speaking to partners and speaking to some of our very close investors in terms of making decisions about how the development effort needs to go in the next few weeks. These are very high-level discussions, and that's taken up his time at the moment. In combination with that, he's also working with me on our website upgrade and refresh, which will also touch on some other aspects of the web presence of Cherry in general. We're also re-establishing the overall marketing rhythm that we have in terms of our internal communications, and we're also establishing the marketing plan for the next couple of months. As Herman and myself discussed a couple of times, I can share with you now that given the fact that the pieces are in place in terms of the core software offering of Cherry, now is the time that we move on to actually evangelizing this more and marketing more. There'll be a big shift towards marketing over the next few months, probably starting within the next couple of weeks. We've prepared for this. I've spoken about this before, and we believe that it will be a natural fit for our strategic roadmap, given the fact that we have so many good pieces in place. Now, in Web3 especially, but in all aspects of marketing, it's actually your partners that really bring things forward. Having good contacts with good industry players, such as our integration partners, such as our larger investors, VCs, advisors, etc., is extremely important to how much bang for your buck you will get. The markets at the moment still aren't very sprightly. They're not very flamboyant, or whatever kind of word you want to put on it. Investor confidence is still shaky. So despite that, things are quite healthy. So now is the time when we can put more effort into marketing and more resources towards it. And with the fact that so much of the core product has been built and is ready to go, that means that we'll get much, much, much higher ROI. I discussed this with people a few months ago, big strategic discussion of marketing. And I think most people agreed with me when I explained the fact that it's not a good idea in the middle of a down market when you don't have the core product fully released. It's not a great idea then to spend all your money on marketing, because the problem with money is once you spend it, it's gone. And if we spend all of our resources on that before a level of product and market maturity, then you can get orders of magnitude less return on investment than you would at a separate stage. We're a very well funded company, and that's good. But at the same time, we don't want to be reckless with spending, because that's not prudent financially for any company. So, as I mentioned there a moment ago, relying on partners is very important. Partners and advisors that will help us increase the ROI from our marketing spend. That's why this week and next week, myself and Herman are speaking with our larger investment partners, and they're going to try and help us to get as much money out of, get as much benefit and value out of the money we spend on marketing over the coming couple of months and beyond. Aside from that, there are things that we're working on internally, and just in terms of the marketing that we do ourselves, our communications more or less, to tighten that up. I was intending to publish the newsletter last Friday, but we were waiting for some input from some devs to talk about some aspects of it. So that's been delayed. I'm hoping to get the newsletter out tomorrow. I mentioned last week as well that we've been working on blog posts, which are quite informative, which talk about tokenomics, which talk about our validators, and the expansion of the validator set, which is quite important for the overall decentralization and also the sturdiness and how solid the network is. I mentioned there a few moments ago as well that the website is more or less finalized in terms of the layout. We've been working on that pretty hard for the last couple of weeks, and Herman is going to give his verdict on it very soon. The bug bounty hasn't been released yet because there were a couple of technical questions that the team were addressing before that went out, because there's no point in having a bug bounty for things that we already know need to be resolved. The merch store launch I delayed myself because we didn't feel that it was very appropriate, and it was a bit silly to be selling merch when the community are really demanding and really hungry and enthusiastic for more updates on the core offering of the project. The merch store is fully ready to go, and we can launch that whenever we like. I think I'll probably do it towards the end of this week or maybe on Monday. In terms of business development, as many of you will know, Diego was away in Barcelona with other team members last Friday and Thursday. It was a very beneficial event, and we really got to talk to people who could be very useful to the future progress of the project. Speaking strategically, I think you'll find that a lot of mediocre projects and bad projects kind of failed or massively contracted in the past year or so with the turmoil in the markets. Thankfully, we were not one of them in terms of how much money we have, etc. In terms of our staff, we didn't have to downgrade anything, we didn't have to cut back too much. We're also in a good position now to be able to thrive in the aftermath of that big shakeup in the industry. So events like the AVAX Summit are very important because we get to talk to not only just projects within the Avalanche ecosystem, but beyond, because it was a big kind of event in the crypto calendar in Western Europe. As I mentioned earlier, the major investors that we work with are very keen to hear more about what our next steps are. We're hoping to actually be able to increase how much kind of funding they've given to us. So we're in some ways embarking on a new round of funding, which will be good for everybody, including the community. But we'll see how that goes. But more importantly, they're going to be able to help us out in many other ways. And then finally, we skipped last Friday and yesterday's Twitter Spaces that we were going to do because the topic wasn't that good and we were very, very busy with some of the other things we're working on. But on Friday at 2 p.m. UTC, I'll be joining the GotBit Exchange, market sessions with Justin, and we're going to have a nice chat about some of the things that are happening in the industry. So that's everything from me. I'm going to just quickly check something and then I'm going to hand you over to Diego. Yep, everything's all right. Okay, so here's Diego, and then I'm going to jump off. Diego's going to lead you into the quiz, and then we'll be announcing the winners of the quiz in about 2 hours or so in the chat as usual. Okay, thanks very much, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today to share the latest news about Seedling as the native launchpad of Cherry Network and even Cherry itself. First and foremost, as Owen mentioned, the main topic today, I'd like to talk about our recent participation in the Avalanche Summit. This event proved to be a very truly enriching experience for the team. It provided us with the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals, explore potential partnerships, and learn from other industry experts. Our presence at the summit allowed us to showcase the unique value proposition of Cherry Network and Seedling, and we are excited about the doors this has opened for us. One of the most significant takeaways, I'd say, from the Avalanche Summit was the affirmation that our vision for Seedling and Cherry Network and the whole ecosystem aligns with the evolving needs of the blockchain ecosystem. This understanding will enable us to continue refining our approach and offerings, making them even more relevant and valuable to projects and partners alike. But anyways, I won't get into too much detail about the event. I also mentioned the previous event at SGAE. We will surely prepare a long written article going through the main points from all the events we have attended in the last couple of months and what we've learned from them. And now moving on, I'm also thrilled to announce that we have been invited to participate in another pitch day this Friday. This event will gather 4 or 5 or even 6 very high potential projects. They will be pitching privately to an audience of venture capitalists, angel investors, and some launchpad representatives, including us. This is a very, incredible opportunity for us to demonstrate the potential of Seedling and Cherry Network, and we're honored to be considered among the VC and launchpad side to listen in the pitch of very innovative projects like they previously did with Avem. I remember it was slightly after we had them on board in our platform, and which really helped them secure a couple of very big tickets for their seed round after that. And I'm guessing right now it's way more difficult to get into that kind of investments. And yeah, as we gear up for this pitch day, our focus remains on fostering an environment that supports the growth of our ecosystem and attracts interest from dApps and offerings decentralized storage solutions to the wider community. We are committed to leveraging our learnings from the Avalanche Summit and the other events such as this Gaia one and this pitch day, for instance, and many other in the last couple of months to continue driving Seedling forward. Yeah, in conclusion, we're thrilled about the progress Seedling and the whole ecosystem has made so far in terms of internal work and networking, and also on the tech side for our ecosystem head, Cherry Network. And we're eager to capitalize on the momentum built during the Avalanche Summit and the upcoming pitch day. Yeah, together we will continue to push the projects on our ecosystem and prepare for the next bull run. And we are excited to have you guys join us on this journey. So thank you, and now I'll leave you guys with John for the quiz as usual.
Hey guys, I just wanted to touch on two questions that Moscow asked in the chat. So first of all, I'll try and get an answer with regards to the burning, and then with regards to the cherry merch as well. I think that we can do it this week. I'm not sure about the referral mechanism or the other aspects that you brought up, but I'll have a think about that and probably ask your input, or maybe ask in the group as well, because there's some good suggestions there in terms of the referrals and stuff. So I'll have a look at that. Thanks very much, man. I will remove my interruption now and lead you on to John, and he's going to do the quiz for us now. Thanks very much, guys. Talk to you soon.